Good noon, students. I hope you all are safe and fine. And you all also might have seen about the today the CBSE has released the revised syllabus also, which we will be discussing as and when I'll be taking the classes. I'll be telling that which chapters are deleted and which are not. I will share the link also in the group, official group, where you can download the syllabus for class 9. So luckily whatever we have done till now is not deleted. Chapter 1 of geography is not deleted. Chapter 1 of economics is not deleted. But forest society and colonialism, which you have done in history, that is before our vacation, that is deleted. So let us today start with the second chapter of geography, that is physical features of India. Children, I started already teaching this chapter that day, but there was a problem of the link. So today I am going to start this again. But there are few things which are not there in the new book, children. For example, like how Himalayas formed or how northern plains are formed. A small introduction I'll be giving you even for that, because I want you to know that how they are formed, although it is not there in the book. Earlier it was there till last year, they deleted this year. So let's start with this. Today we will be learning about India's physical features. You may know only India is a land of varied features. Every soil is different from one another. India has a large diversity in wildlife and natural vegetation. We all know that India has a large varied physical features. We have so many different features also. So, and the features which we see on our Earth's surface, they are being formed many millions of years before. They have been formed due to different processes which have taken place over the period. So now you may wonder, in what are these processes? What are the physical features of India? So let us see this diversity of our country. So the topics which we are going to cover in the first part of the chapter is theory of the tectonic plates, which is not there in your book. So I'll just do some part of the introduction and then move on. Then formation of Himalayas, which is also deleted. Formation of northern plains, which is also deleted. But I'll do so that you can know that how they are formed. And then finally we'll do major physiographic features of India, which are a part of your syllabus. So the first part which we are doing is theory of tectonic plates. In short, I'll just explain that there used to be several minor and 7 major plates beneath the Earth's surface. Plates are like at home you will use the plate which is very small. But when I'm talking the plate here, they are very big plates. Plates like big continents, that bigger plates they are, and those plates are called as tectonic plates, and they keep moving, but the movement is very slow, so they keep moving. When these plates move, they cause disturbance even in the continental crust. Children, you might be observing from last few months, even in Delhi there are earthquakes. This is also a cause of movement of these tectonic plates, and these plates cause several formations, that is folding, faulting, volcanic activities, etc. Folding is when the two plates come towards each other. When the two plates move towards each other, the sediments which are present in between them, they get folded. Sometimes they go down fold, sometimes they go up fold. So for example, Himalayas are formed due to the folding activities. Fault means a crack in the earth's surface. So there can be a fault also in the earth surface when is this faulting takes place? When these plates move away from each other. For example, you take your some old book and try to pull the two parts of that book, open the book and try to pull. What will happen? It will tear apart in between. So that is how faulting is formed. In the same way, take that book and try to fold it. You move your hands towards each other. What you will see, either the book fold will go up or it will go down. So that is a folding. And the volcanic activity. When there is a faulting, that is a crack in the earth surface, there are chances that the volcanoes can erupt. So that is how the movement of the plates takes place. Then we have in the past, again this is not a part of the syllabus but I need to do so that you can understand this concept, children. The 7 continents earlier which were there, they were called as single landmass which were known as Pangaea. Due to the constant movement of the convectional currents, plates below the earth got split. The plates, because of the convectional currents, they got split and the Pangaea broke down into different land masses which we see today. The Europe, Asia, North America, Greenland, they comprise Angara land. Africa, Peninsular India, Australia, Antarctica, South America, they were oldest landmass which were called as the Gondwana land. So there were 2 types of land formed from Pangaea, that is Angara land and the Gondwana land. Generally the northern part above the equator, they were called as the Angara land, and the southern part of the continents below the equator, they were called as the Gondwana land. Then we come to the formation of Himalayas, how the Himalayas formed, because today also I got a query because this part was not there in the syllabus but one of the child asked me, so I thought that I'll do this part also. India was a part of the oldest landmass. The convectional current splits the crust into several pieces, due to which it leads to drifting of the Indo-Australian plates towards north. Now, let me tell you about this and I'll show you the plates also that I think there were plates here. If you can see in this pic, you can see that there are children certain plates here which I'll show you just. Children, you can see here, this one you can see here, which I am not able to draw a little bit properly. This you can see that here we have Indo-Australian plate. If you can see very well, Indo-Australian plate. And then we have in the northern part, if you see children, you have Eurasian plate. You can see here children, it is very clear. You can see here, you can see that there is a Eurasian plate here children. I am showing you children, just a minute. Here you can see in the topper part, here you can see here, this is a Eurasian plate and here you can see this is Australian plate children. Now what happened is, due to the convectional currents, these Indo-Australian plate, which we call it as, it started moving upwards. It started moving upwards in this direction, like I'll show you with the pencil again. Like this, it started moving. Now what happened when it started moving here? This Eurasian plate, it got collided with Eurasian plate. You know collision. When two rocks collide, what will happen? You might have seen. Either suppose if a big rock collides with a small rock, you might have seen that the small rock will break into pieces. The same thing happened, that this small Indo-Australian plate, when it drifted toward upwards with the Eurasian plate, it got collided, and these two, once they got collided, Eurasian plate is a bigger plate. So this Indo-Australian plate, it got divided. What happened? The Indian plate that remained in the northern part, and a part of this plate, you can see here children, a part of this plate which you can see here, that remained upwards, and the rest of the part drifted down, that is slided. Drift means slide. It has slided down, which you can see today is Australia. So first these two were together, later on because of this collision, that plate drifted. Now other than this, what happened? When they got collided, in between these two plates there was a sea here. Here there was a sea which is called as Tethys Sea. It was called as Tethys Sea. This Tethys Sea, the sediments in the Tethys Sea got folded to form the mountain chains of Asia, and the Himalayas were formed. So that means when the two plates are converging, we call them as converging, means moving towards each other. When they are moving towards each other, what happened? The sediments in the sea got folded and they formed into folds, and it is not in one day, it took many millions of years, and these folds, when they formed into the Himalayas and the Asian mountain chains. So that is the story of how it got separated. Now we come to the again we are going back there, that how Himalayas are formed. You can see here children, the Indo-Australian plates collided with the Eurasian plates. Due to this huge collision, the sedimentary rocks accumulated at the base of the sea. Sea name I named it Tethys Sea, it is children, Tethys, due to which mountain system of Western Asia and Himalayas were formed. So that is how Himalayas were formed, and this I have already shown you. Here you can see the plates, that is Indo-Australian plate and the Eurasian plates. You can see even other minor plates also, and the 7 major plates also you can see. Then we have, we come to again the next part, that is formation of northern plains. Children, when anything gets collided, suppose if there is say on the earth's surface there is a bomb blast, what do you see? Other than the people die, etc., you might see that there is a big depression formed. Depression means a large, big hole kind of a thing formed on the earth's surface. So same way, when these two plates, which I told you earlier, Indo-Australian plate and Eurasian plate, when they got collided, and when the Himalayas were uplifted, or when the Himalayas were formed, there was a hollow depression formed below the Himalayas. There was a hollow depression formed below the Himalayas. And when this hollow depression was formed below the Himalayas, which you can see here, you can see here, I have written here children, depression, formation of depression. So when this depression means a large hollow, when I say large, it's not a small hole, a very, very big land depression, that means the land sinked, went down. So when this land went down, how is this then northern plains formed? The rivers which emerged in the mountains, which are formed due to the glaciers, children, these rivers, when they have descended and when they were flowing towards the depression or towards their south, from the north to the south, this depression, it got filled by the sediments which are brought down by the rivers. when the sediment started filling into this depression, slowly and slowly, again after some years, a land is formed which we are calling it as the northern plains. So I'll just quickly read out this, children. Due to the gradual upliftment of Himalayas and gradual sinking of land, this resulted in the formation of depression. In due course of time, the depression which was formed gradually got filled by sediments of river which was flowing from the mountains in the north to the south. So the rivers which are flowing from the north, they brought sediments and deposited in this large hole or a depression. It led to the formation of the India's northern plains, and we all know that sediments, when they were deposited, it is called as alluvium. So from alluvium, alluvial soil is formed. So we say that northern plains are rich in the alluvial soils. Now we come to the next, that is the major part which we actually supposed to do. This is the beginning of the now your chapter. That was only the earlier part which I have told you for your general knowledge, children. Let us start with the major physiographic divisions of India. And we have the northern mountains. We have 6 major divisions which we will do one by one. The first one we are going to do is the northern mountains of India or the Himalayas, which you can see in the map over here, children. Now let us do the features of these northern mountains. You can see all the features here. Geologically, they are young and fold mountains. Now I have already told you why they are fold mountains. They are formed when the plates converged or moved towards each other and the sediments got folded to form the fold mountains. They are young. Young doesn't mean yesterday. Young means again some millions of years before, but they formed after the plateaus were formed. So that we'll do again later. Then they stretch over the northern boundaries of India, which you can see in the map. They are towards the northern boundaries of India, and they are stretched from west to east, that is from the river Indus to river Brahmaputra, which I will show here, which is not drawn over here, children. Here we have the river Indus, children. So from river Indus to, I'll show you river Brahmaputra also, which is flowing in the east and then entering into India like this, children. So you will see that from here to here we have the, that is from this end to this end we have the, from west to east we have the Himalayas. And then it is also, Himalayas have many highest mountain peaks also, and they are rugged mountains also, uneven rugged terrain also. They cover a distance of 2,400 kilometers, that is from west to east, again from here to here, that is. Again I will show you, children, with the pencil. That is from here to here. What is the distance? It is 2,400 kilometers. But its width, when we are talking about, width is, suppose in Jammu and Kashmir, the width of this is, from here to here, the width is 400 kilometers, and in Arunachal Pradesh, that is here, the width is, here the width is only 150 kilometers. That is in Arunachal Pradesh, width is only 150 kilometers. Now we come to the next part. Ranges of Himalayas. After doing the features, we start with the ranges of the Himalayas. It is divided into three ranges, but here I have given the fourth one because in the eastern part also we call these Himalayas with a different name. So I have given it differently. The first is your Himadri or Greater Himalayas. Second range we call it as Himachal or Lesser Himalayas. Third range we call it as Shivaliks or Outer Himalayas. Purvanchal or Eastern Hills or Mountains. This we will cover in the next part again. Now we start with the first range of Himalayas, that is Himadri range. Northernmost continuous range of Himalayas. Northernmost range of Himalayas which have loftiest peaks also, and it is a continuous range. And loftiest peaks with an average height of more than 6,000 meters. Most of the peaks have the height more than 6,000 meters. And the highest peak is given here. We have Mount Everest, which is 8848 meters, which is in Nepal, which I'll show you in the map also. Then we have Kanchenjunga also in this same range, that is Himadri range, which has height of 8598 meters, which lie in Sikkim, which I'll show you again. Sikkim, that is in India, which I'll show you again in the map, children. And folds are asymmetrical. Asymmetrical means they are not of same shape and size. Uneven shape, uneven sizes the folds are. The folds of the mountains are. They are perennially snowbound. Most of the time when we see the Himadri range, most of the time, that is what is written here, existing for a long time, when we see now it is global warming, it may melt the glaciers, but otherwise generally they are snowbound. Then rivers like Ganga, that has emerged from this the glacier which is here in the Himadri range, which is called as Gangotri Glacier. The core of Himadri is composed of granite, that is the center at the core, that is the middle part of the Himadri, the center is composed of the granite. So we come to the next range, Himachal or the Lesser Himalayas. Himachal, the name itself is, Himachal Pradesh when we talk about. So that is how the Himachal range it is. It is also the rugged mountain ranges. It is located to the south of Himadri, that is below the Himadri range. It is composed of highly compressed and altered rocks, because compressed means they are binded together. Compression means they are binded together. They are strongly binded together rock. That is the sediments, they are binded properly. Like for example, if you put the bricks, we have to put the cement to bind them. So same way they are very much highly compressed. Compressed means pressed under the Himadri range. Then we have average height 3,700 to 4,500 meters. Most of these hills here, these are of this meters. Important ranges, in this also we have very small ranges. They are called as the Pir Panjal range, the Dhauladhar range and the Mahabharat range also. They are famous. We have some of the very beautiful valleys over here, like Kashmir Valley, Kangra Valley, Kulu Valley, and lots of hill stations, children. Here we have Mussoorie, Nainital, Ranikhet, Shimla. All these hill stations, they lie in these valleys, that is the Himachal range, and it has a lot of fruit orchards also, like apples, apricots, etc. Then we have the third range, that is Shivaliks, children, which are also called as Outer Himalayas. They extend over a width of 10 to 15 kilometers. Their height is very low, that is between 900 meters to 1100 meters. They are composed of unconsolidated mud and rocks. Now this is a very important feature, children. What do you mean by unconsolidated? Unconsolidated means they are not cemented or they are not compressed properly. Now, what do you mean by that they are not compressed properly or they are not cemented properly? They are not, that is, if suppose you are putting a bricks, you are building a wall and you are putting the bricks, but you are not putting the cement upon that, what will happen? Even if there is a small movement in the plates, there will be large destruction. So that is the meaning of unconsolidated sediments. That is why most of the, whenever there is an earthquake, most devastation takes place in this Shivaliks range. So that is the feature over there, unconsolidated sediments. That is why it is written that it is more prone to landslides and earthquakes. So next one, it is prominent in the western part of India. Then we have longitudinal valleys here. We have some of the beautiful valleys here, which are longitudinal valleys. These longitudinal valleys in Shivalik range are called as dunes. Again, I am repeating, longitudinal valleys. You know what do you mean by longitude and latitude, I hope. So the longitudinal valleys, that is from north to south in this Shivalik range, there are certain valleys called as dunes. For examples are given, which were very famous with, like Dehradun. Dehradun is very famous hill station. Then we have the Kotli Dune and the Patli Dune. These are the valleys, children. So that is about the Shivalik range. And then we have the last range, that is the Purvanchal, eastern hills and mountains. These Himalayas, when we go towards the eastern part of India, where we have Arunachal Pradesh and the other states, we see that these hills are called as the Purvanchal hills. They are named separately. They are called as Purvanchal hills. They bend sharply towards the south and they spread along the eastern edge of India, forming a border with Myanmar called as Purvanchal. So we have Nagaland, Manipur, all these states over there where we have the Purvanchal hills. Then they are formed of or composed of strong sandstone. Sandstone is a sedimentary rock. You know what is a sedimentary rock, children? Metamorphic, sedimentary and the igneous rocks we do. Sedimentary rock. So sandstone is a sedimentary rock. We have a large amount of flora and fauna here in these hills. That is dense forest, and they run a lot of parallel ranges and valleys over here. We have small hills here, that is a part of the Purvanchal hills only. We have Patkai hills, Naga hills in Nagaland, Manipur hills in Manipur, Mizo hills in the Mizoram. I'll show you the map for this, then you will understand that what are the different hills over here. Children, we have the different ranges of Himalayas here. You can see the map. We have all the ranges here. We have the 1, 2, 3 written over there. Also, we can see over here. We have the Karakoram range. I have written here as 1. That is the Karakoram range. Then it is the second range is the Ladakh range. Then we have the Jaskar range, and then we have the fourth one, that is the Kailash range. And then we have the Great Himalayas, which you can see with a long line over here, that is from the west to east. Then the second one is the Lesser Himalayas, you can see, which I have drawn with the broken line, you can see. Then we have the Shivaliks, again you can see to the south of this. So Himadri, Himachal and Shivaliks in a line. Then there are some peaks also which we have shown you. Let us start with the first, that is the Mount Everest. I'll show you, that is the fourth one. Let me show you again with my pencil pointer so that it can be easy for you, children. You can see here, children. This is the fourth one. This is your Mount Everest, which is the highest peak of Himalayas. Then we have fifth one I have shown you, Kanchenjunga here, which lies in just next to the Nepal. A small part is there in India, that is Sikkim. So that is your Kanchenjunga, and we have already done the height of the Kanchenjunga, 8598 meters. It is the second highest peak of Himalayas, not the second highest peak of the world. It is not the second highest peak of the world. So we have the one more second highest peak of the world after Mount Everest is the first one in the world. Second one we have in the Karakoram range, children. Second one we have in the Karakoram range, that is your K2. You can see here, children, K2 here. K2. It's in the Ladakh range, children, not in the Karakoram range. So Ladakh range, which is the, I've shown you here with the pencil. So that is your, let me rub that earlier one. Okay. So just the red one, which I am showing you, the red one with the red one, second point, that is your K2, which is the second highest peak of the world, which lies in the, presently, actually, it is in Jammu Kashmir, but presently part of the POK, Pakistan occupied Kashmir. So that is why I am not telling that it is in India. So we have the, in India, we have the range that is the Kanchenjunga. First, again, I am repeating, the peak of the highest peak of Himalayas is your Mount Everest. Second peak of the world is your K2. Okay, so that's up to for today, children, because the time is running short. And please learn all the features of these Himalayas, and in a map, you please mark according to the new map list which I will be sending on your WhatsApp group. Not all, only those which I will send on your WhatsApp group, children. So have a good day, students.